Well, hello, my folks. They say, buy one, retire, you'll have a blast. This particular timing of this, we've had a few occasions where we had drifted in the past with a small anchorage. That's why we went with heavy-duty anchors. And like I said, I mean, she held beautifully during the strong hurricane that we had a month ago. Even with the other boat tethered to us, we still held up. When he broke free, we stood. And this one, I mean, the winds are around 50 knots, 50 miles an hour, and we break free. Go figure.
I dream of sailing. You know I always dream of sailing.
Do anything about it.
Sailing. You know I always dream of sailing. Freedom on the seas, my love. Dancing on the waves to warm places we don't know. Loving life Mercado style and steady as we go. I dream of sailing.
Well, here we are. A storm or hurricane number 2 for 2022, and this is Nicole.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as Ian, but it's giving us more trouble.
Like Fatima said, it's not the ones that you prepare for the worst, it's the ones that you don't. During Ian, with over 100 miles an hour winds, we held up just fine. Well, today, around 5:30 a.m., I get a call from my neighbor saying, "Now, you're dragging." It's like, you're kidding me. I was up, but I was not looking out at the time. And sure enough, we were 10 feet away from him. And it just escalated to worse and worse. Panic mode, trying to get fenders out and fend him, protect him from getting any damage. The boat did a couple of maneuvers. At one time we were side by side, and it's like, okay, that's best case scenario is to be bow against or hull against hull. At least we can fend it off. There's no sharp things. Well, a little while later, did a spin because I have the engines running, and I was trying to maneuver and see if I could make any leeway away from him. Every once in a while, a little spurt would react a little bit, but not enough to do any sort of control, damage control. So at one point, it's like, yes, I finally backed up enough, and my nose ended up on the top of him with my bowsprit going over his lifelines. It was not a good situation. We're fending it off, and I keep running to the helm and trying to see if I can maneuver. Finally, I maneuvered again. And before you know it, he was on my sugar scoops sideways. So, not good. And he's still out there fighting it. He's got a lot of anchors down. He's got 7 anchors. We call him the anchor man. We call him the anchor man for that reason. That's how many anchors he's got. So one of his anchors was stripped straight across what looked like maybe a prop. I maybe fouled it, and then I realized that it was actually on the opposite side, the port side sugar scoop. That's where it was coming across, and I think it was fouled up over there. So he released that one anchor, and so as you can see at the waterline, that little blue spot over there, that's where we were kind of where he was on our sugar scoops. On the opposite side, on the port side over there, bouncing. We were fenders over there, and then I ran again to the helm, and I was able to maneuver to pretty much where we are right now, which is still way too close to a comfort. And he's battling those lines at this time, and he should be inside. He's you know, I'm keeping an eye on us, but he's in a bad predicament. But he's got the other boat that has gotten a lot closer to him. Do anything about it. All I'm doing is keeping an eye, and if I have to throttle a little bit to kind of face it into the wind a little bit more, get my backhand away from him, or vice versa. We'll see. It's going to be a long day. This is supposed to last till the end of the night, till midnight, and we're at 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:30 or so. And that's only happened last week. So last week that mishap, and this week us going into him was not a good week at all. You know, hopefully everything is okay with him. Haven't gotten the assessment if there were any damages done. I see his bottom paint. He's got the blue primer underneath, but the black paint. He's got a bald spot over there. I'm assuming that was to do with. He was alongside our back, where the fenders might have done that. I don't know. Every time he's done something for me, and I tried to pay him for it, he always refused. He comes over once in a while for a cold beer, and happy to oblige. And we've watched a few movies here. He's a good guy. Mark is a good neighbor to have when you're on an anchor. I hope all of you get as good of a neighbor as him. I'm not a good neighbor. He's a good neighbor. You know, during Ian, we still have some of the after effects of her. We still got that boat right over there, which sunk. That used to be right behind me. It drifted away, got into a shallow, and the keel got hung up on the shallow spot over there, and they just kept keeling over and over and over until it filled up with water. That's it for this time. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget, hit that like button and thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Thank you. Take care. See you very soon. Any last words, Fatima? No. Are you okay?
I got you.
Did you throw it on?
Oh my, I've got a mess up here. But anyway, good morning. Today is Friday, November 11th. Hurricane Nicole came through yesterday, and we just wanted to let you know the results of what happened.
Well, good morning again. Today is Friday, the day after the horrendous day of the hurricane. So we, if I show you around, we have been able to move this morning. So first thing we did, seeing that the winds were calm, the seas were somewhat at a good state. By the way, that's where we were, right next to him over there. Started pulling up anchor this morning and got to a point that my windlass could not pull up the anchor any further. Well, it comes to find out, we had like 3 anchors attached to ours. One was still stretched far out, which kind of held us in place while we worked the situation that we had. And the other one was our line, our anchor chain was all wrapped up around. I mean, like a big web. Our chain was underneath that of the chain. It was embedded in, and it took me quite a while and bolt cutters to cut up the top layers that were overmines to free us from the mess that we had. That's why we dragged. It was not his anchor, it was nothing of that sort. It's just some anchor that had been abandoned and on the seabed for a long period of time. This had been a long period of time. So I had to lay across my bowsprit over there. As you can see, all the grease marks, black rust, gunk going across that. I was sitting over there, laying over, reaching over and trying to work from there. And like I said, was finally able to cut chain to get free. So that's why we dragged to start off with. Then once we did drag and got close enough to our neighbor Mark, because he's got 7 anchors, so I had 7 anchors out, and they pretty much go straight across his bow and then 5 of them in the front. But he will have one that's facing 90 degrees from his port side and another one 90 degrees from his starboard side, but all coming from his front bumper. So he's got quite a web. So when we started going into him, we caught up one of his west lines, his lines that was going straight across, and me trying to get control of the boat. Well, that wrapped up on the prop, and we immediately became completely unable to move. Yesterday, him being the nice neighbor that he is, once the waters calmed down a little bit, they were still choppy. I mean, they were still choppy. I kept begging him not to do it. I didn't want him to do it. I didn't think we were in any danger at that time. But he's a stubborn man too. He insisted on getting in the water, and it took him at least an hour of going for short dives under and cut up the line to get our prop free again, and he was able to do it. And the only payment he got out of that he would accept was a cup of coffee after his long dive. Out of the front, the anchor chain the anchor that we had tied up, here's part of what was in there. Thick chain, a lot of shackles, 1, 2, 3, and another one that I cut somewhere. So there were like 4 shackles on this piece of chain over here. And I realized how hard it is to cut a chain of that thickness if you don't have a floor and you can't put your weight into the cutting tool to finally go through it. While I was sitting up there, and I actually had to do it one part against my chest and the other part pulling up, so it was a little bit tough. I did not think that I was going to be able to cut that damn chain, but after quite a struggle, got it cut. Yeah. So on the other end, on the prop side, we and even on the chain side, there was rope attached, but not attached to the chain. There was a web of pieces of rope that were also tangled up with the anchor that was hung up on us. And this is the line, was his anchor line that he cut up from our prop. All of this was wrapped up, had at least 8 spins of thick line around it, and some of it was pretty embedded in. So that's why he struggled so much to get it all out. But he would not stop until he got it all out, and sure enough. So that was what transpired yesterday after the drag, and this morning, like I said, was able to start. And I did not have good control of the boat still because my props are fouled with growth. I have a local boater that lives on a boat out there who does the diving for me. He comes and we put him on a schedule to do it at least once a month. For him to come out and clean the bottom of the boat, because actually Sarasota has very nutrient enriched waters, So the growth over here is worse than any place that I had seen. Here, you're here for 1 week and you get a water line that's loaded with barnacles. So this has to be done even more than once a month. So anyway, because I have feathering props, meaning that they pitch automatically and stay this way when you're cutting water, and that's the reason why they're so damn expensive. To gain half a knot, 3/4 of a knot, they don't put any drag, they don't stay like this, so they don't put any drag in the water. Well, those, if there's any barnacles on them, it doesn't allow them to do their full spin to their proper pitch. So they might stay parallel, or they might not even go in an opposite direction to go into reverse, period. Any barnacles around that shaft that will hinder that blade from moving around, that's all it takes, and you're not going anywhere. So both props are fouled with barnacles on the top of having the rope attached. So this morning when I started it up, it was slow maneuvering and going between forward and reverse of double engines just to get away enough from Mark and be able to set anchor over here once I felt that it was safe enough. I had enough power to maneuver it a little bit, but barely maneuvering. And if I put both engines on forward, I would be actually doing like a turn, which means that one of the engines, the prop is not adjusting itself, and the other one had no adjustment either, but it at least was on a forward motion, or forward pitch, maybe. So anyway, that's where we stood, because when they're clean, this boat is a charm. We can turn this boat on a dime, without any problem. We pull her up to marinas, we pull it up to docks without any problem. But over here, after a couple of weeks' time, and for sure, your props are fouled. So anyway, that's where we stand. So the guy who lives aboard, who comes and cleans us, he was actually supposed to have been here sometime last week before this came about. Did not show up, so hopefully, I know he's still on schedule, will come up, clean my props so I can go to the marina, also do a pump out, fill up with water and fuel, and get things going. Well, on a good note, my solar panels are more than enough to supply the power that I need for this boat. The other good news is that, as you know, some of you know, power has been an issue from day one with this boat. Me struggling on getting the power stabilized over here. And we have made a big investment on Fireflies, and the problem just kept on going. We went with lithiums. The problem changed because for a month straight we were at 100%, and then after that it went to 75 and then to 50, and I could not get the batteries, even though they would show that they were at 100%, but a little while later or during the night time they would those readings would not accurate, but they would drop again. So I've been working on trying to get my generator running so I could top off on the event that I needed to. And yes, just last weekend, that's what I was working on. I broke down and ordered a new engine for the next gen 3.5 kilowatt generator. I replaced the motor, and it's so nice to get it, just to push the button and it kicks right over. Everything inside on the electronics is working fine. It goes into the bulk, and like I said, the batteries are full all the time, so it goes right back into absorption. It just goes to bulk for a few seconds, and boom, it's like, your batteries are full. Let's put it on absorb and limit the amount of amps that are coming into the system. So the generator is running. I will finally be able to maybe do a little bit of wood turning and get back into that. I've gathered a couple of pieces of wood from local trees that fell down, and I'll see what comes up out of that. So you'll be seeing me on Rebel Turner very soon. Those of you that are watching me over here, I know also follow me on the Rebel Turner. But anything related with sailing, I'm trying to keep it on the iDos. Everything that's related to wood turning, I will put it on the Rebel Turner. That's my other channel, in case you don't know. Follow both of them. You know, the Rebel Turner has done amazing. It did good views. I'm a good wood turner. I think I am. Or people tell me I am. So make sure you check on that side as well for upcoming videos on wood turning. And this channel will maintain videos of sailing adventures. And the problem with this channel is that I don't have the camera on all the time. And definitely during a situation, a panic time, my first thought is not, let's grab the camera and film this because it will be interesting for the viewers. My priorities is the boat first, everything that's around me, making sure I do no damages to anybody else, and get into a safe position. Then maybe I'll come up and grab the camera and do an update after the fact. I apologize for that, but you know, there are things that are more important to me than the YouTube channel. I want you guys to follow me. I want you guys to like what I put up, but the content that I put, that's real life and not the dream life that you might think it is, that we were made to believe it is from most channels that we watched. It's a great lifestyle, but it's not a lifestyle that's for everybody. And what's being presented on YouTube by most channels, not all channels, might not be telling you exactly what they go through on a regular basis, you know, the boredom at times, what we're gonna do, what we're not gonna do, and the constant repairs on a boat. Constant. So there's that. And even those that do talk about all these repairs, well, you can't possibly grasp exactly how much time is spent, because you know, that's not what the video is all about. The video will say, oh, we're working on our toilet again, oh, our fridge is not working again. Well, it's not a 5-minute thing or just a statement. It's the constant thing of, if it's not one thing today, it's another. There's always something that is going to require your attention sooner or later. Just like the props, you know, they run fine one day and then the next day they're encrusted with barnacles and they don't run anymore. So you gotta maintain, you gotta stay on the top of things. Well, thanks for watching again, and hopefully I'll do a follow-up very short, so you don't wait another month before the next video again. Take care. See you soon. And there's fire. Always something to do on a boat. If you don't do that, you get mold.